Welcome to Make and Decorate with Stephanie, a podcast for makers who love to sew, quilt, knit, and decorate. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second half of Season 5. This is episode 98. On today's episode, we're celebrating Black History Month with YouTuber SewNaturalDane, who is the founder of hashtag BHM Pattern Designers, an annual event in February and is currently going on right now through February 28th. Also, this episode is presented in video format on my YouTube channel. The new handles that YouTube just came out with, mine is @Make and Decorate, but the name of my channel right now is Stephanie Socha Design. So you can search with either of those and find my channel, and the video episode will be there. Also, a link will be in the show notes. For those of you that prefer audio, the entire conversation is also here and will follow the chit chat segment. So let's get going with the chit chat. It's been a little bit since our last chat, and man, the holidays now, don't they seem like so long ago? But it was not even, we're almost at 2 months. But my holidays were very nice despite my vertigo issues. I've been in physical therapy since December 23rd, and I'm almost 100%. I've got a few more sessions to go. Every time I think I'm done, there's 2 more sessions added on, which is good because she challenges me to go a step further. And the first thing we corrected was just the stationary eye balance for the dizziness. And now she's added movement to it, movement to your eye, balance. Oh, it's challenging. It's just crazy. So yeah, but I'm getting there and I feel really so much better already right now. A few things the new year brings to the forefront of our minds, not only for exercising and the whole weight loss thing, but it's interior decorating and organizing, especially being stuck indoors during the remaining winter months. And that's pretty much all we see every day. The groundhog saw its shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter left. But that would be 6 more weeks winter left on the calendar year, where spring would actually start on March 21st. But here in Chicago, that really means 12 more weeks for us of winter. So it is a great time to focus on indoor tasks. And my next episode will tackle that topic, focusing on our sewing and crafting rooms, designing it and organizing. January was the most cloudy January here in many years. It was some sort of record. And it was a full month of dark gray clouds, and is very tough to get through without feeling blah and depressed. And I couldn't even think about gardening. And in fact, I thought at one point I would just skip planting seeds this year. But then I received a couple of seed catalogs, Baker Creek and Park Seeds, and I flipped through those gorgeous photographed flowers and vegetables, and they started to bring some light into my dreary self, because I do have that sad thing in the winter, seasonal affective disorder, and it hasn't really been that bad until this past January, where it's not just cloudy days, it's like very heavy dark gray skies and darkness. So anyway, But I saw these catalogs and saw the beautiful photos, and it really got me thinking about it and getting excited and wanting to order seeds. So I did. I ordered some seeds a couple weeks ago. They are here, ready to be planted, and I'm going to start them indoors depending on which ones take the longest to germinate and grow into strong seedlings. And because last year was the first time I've ever done it, and when I started the seedlings, I just started them all. And some of them needed much longer seed germination times, and they weren't ready when spring actually came to plant them outdoors, and then they just took forever to develop. And then others were started too soon and they started growing leggy. So all of that. But anyway, I'm on to that now. I'm going to make that correction and see how I do this year. And then I thought, wow, this is why experienced gardeners love this time of year. I never could understand that, but now I get it. It will make the rest of the winter go by quickly as we watch our little seedlings grow into fresh green life. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it is so much fun, and it really helps get through these blah winter days. I didn't do much sewing or quilting in the past 2 months because of the dizziness, but there were a few projects I worked on in the sewing room in little chunks of time at a time, but I was still recovering, and I couldn't even knit until a couple of weeks ago. And now I'm much better and have started knitting in the evenings again. That might be another reason why I was so blah and depressed in January as well. I think that did contribute to it. And in January, a knit along started that I did join. It's the Pearl Soho Prism Blanket knit along. The Prism Blanket is, I believe it's a free pattern on the Pearl Soho website. And I think it's a 14-week knit along. It's a throw size blanket that replicates half square triangles. So it has this little nod to quilting that I really like. And it's one block at a time. And I'm using mostly Taki wool yarn. It's really nice and soft and beautiful. I've never used it before. And then for one of the main colors, I'm using West Yorkshire Spinners fleece. It's a 100% British wool. It's a little more dense than the Taki wool yarn, and it is also really gorgeous and beautiful. And for one of the contrast colors, I'm using a Goodwill Finds yarn that I found last summer and bought from Goodwill Finds when they first opened up. Didn't know what I was going to use it for, but there were enough skeins where I could incorporate it into, any type of project. So this is perfect. It went completely with the color scheme that I developed, and it is a Shetland wool. 100% Shetland wool. It's a beautiful lavender color. So those are my yarns, and they're so pretty. I've done 1.5 blocks, and it does take a while to do the blocks because the yarn is a DK light, so it's a little smaller diameter. The chunkier yarns definitely knit up much bigger and faster. But anyway, this is a nice refined knitting, and it's all in the why can't I think of the word now? The stockinette stitch. So on circular needles. So it's really a nice thing to knit in the evenings. And the other unique thing about this is that they are knitted block by block, but the way that the blocks are joined is different. So you do not need to sew them together after you've made the blocks. They are joined as you knit in columns. It's a little tricky at first, but I got it down, and it's looking really nice. So then I had to put that away for the month of February because I am participating in the hashtag BHM Pattern Designers Challenge. It's the Black History Month Pattern Designers. And you will find out what I am attempting to start and finish this month, because the challenge goes from the 1st of February through the 28th. You have to make and complete it in February. So, and then on March 1st, I will go back to the prison blanket. So that is the plan. All right. One more thing. It is Super Bowl weekend. Yeah. And what team are you rooting for? Neither are my home team. And I also do not dislike either team in this Super Bowl game. So I think I have just a little bit, probably more, I don't know, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Kansas City because I really like their quarterback, Mahomes. And also, my husband is going to root for Philadelphia because of Mahomes. He still has hard feelings of when Mahomes was first drafted into the NFL, and he was supposed to be on the Chicago Bears. And for whatever reason, they did not go with him like they were supposed to. And that was a huge, like in Pretty Woman, huge mistake. And my husband and a lot of other Bear fans have never gotten over it. But I really like Mahomes, and he is greatly skilled. And I know this has nothing to do with football, but he is such a cutie pie too. All right. One more thing. My husband's favorite UK soccer/football team is Leeds, and they haven't been doing well in the Premier League. And sadly, their coach was just fired. So sad. He is the real life Ted Lasso story. And it's what I like in it too, because he is an American coach from Wisconsin. And only in real life, teams that do not perform tend to turn over their managers and coaches very quickly. So that is what happened. I guess one too many losses. And yeah, so unfortunately, my husband's a little sad about that. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a sports update in there. All right, let's get on to the next segment. My chat with SewNaturalDane, a YouTuber that sews beautiful clothing, bags, and more on her channel. We recorded this episode a few weeks ago, and I know you're going to love our conversation. Welcome to Make and Decorate, a podcast for makers who love to sew, quilt, and decorate. I'm so pleased to introduce you to my guest today, which is Natita from SewNaturalDane. Welcome, Natita. I'm so glad to see you today.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. I wanted to actually I started a little too early. I needed to I was so excited to say hi to you, but I want to tell the listeners and viewers that you are the creator of SewNaturalDane, which is a sewing vlog and YouTube channel, and you founded hashtag BHM Pattern Designers in 2019. Yes. We're going to talk more about that, and you'll explain exactly what it is. And you're an independent fabric designer, and you have a second online business, the Fabric Boutique. So welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And again, Happy New Year. I am happy to be here and talk with you today.
I am really happy to have you. And I have to tell you about how I discovered you, which was very recent. It was just last summer. And I was making the dress that I wore to my brother's wedding. My brother got married in October. And so at the beginning of the year, that was my goal. I'm going to make, the dress that I'm going to wear, because I wanted to wear this Liberty Tantalon fabric, nice and flowy fabric. So it took me a while to decide what it was. But anyway, when I did, it was the Cashmerette Upton dress. And I looked on YouTube for anything I could find about sewing it, and your videos popped up, and you did like 3 videos on this. And I have to
Oh, the
tell
sew
you,
along. Okay.
yes. Yeah, you did that a few years ago, but
Yeah.
I found it and I watched those over and over again. And those videos really made the process for me so much easier than it was going to be had I not watched those.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank
Yes.
you. I'm happy to
Yes.
help.
So, I mean, the main thing was making a muslin of the bodice piece. That was like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
completely just, if I did not do that, I would have been crying and it would have, the dress, fabric and everything would have been ruined. So it was great. Those were great videos. So anyway, that's how I discovered you. And then I watched more videos and I'm just like, I really need to talk with her and have her on my show, and learn everything I can about you, your channel, your sewing experience, all of that. So anyway, so yeah, let's dive into the sewing and
Okay.
tell us about your sewing journey.
Well, I actually grew up sewing. My mother taught me to sew. I used to sit and watch her sew. At the time when she was getting married, she made her wedding dress. And I remember sitting on the floor, just watching her sew. And then as she taught me to sew, I remember going to, and you might be familiar because you're from the Midwest that I am. There was a fabric store, and the name just escaped me. It was before Joanne Fabrics even existed. And I can't.
Minnesota Fabrics or Hancock's?
I'm thinking it was Hancock.
Hancock. Okay.
And Minnesota Fabrics. I want to say we had both because one was inside of a mall. I do remember that. So what I remember is sitting at the table, going through the drawers, waiting for her. She would get her fabrics and everything from there. But then fast forward, I sewed up until I was at least in the 8th grade, because I remember in the 8th grade, there was a talent show and you can showcase whatever your talent is. So my talent at the time was sewing, and I made 2 or 3 garments.
Wow.
And I will date myself because one of the patterns was a pattern. I don't remember the pattern company, but I remember Brooke Shields was on the front cover. I am totally dating myself.
I'm right there with you.
I made a dress. It was a dress she was in. I made that dress. And then another pattern, I don't remember the pattern I used, but it was a zip up, like a loungewear zip up, and then some pants. And then high school hit. Hormones, boys, all of that. And I totally slipped off. I remember having home ec. I was fortunate to grow up where we did have home ec class. So I did have a sewing class and all of that. And, life happened, all of that. I got out of sewing, and then college, I went away to college, and then I definitely wasn't sewing in college. And then once college was over with, I know I didn't start sewing immediately then. And then, I remember I started sewing again. I made some drapes for the townhouse I was living in at the time. But again, I didn't really veer off back into garment making. And then more years had passed. And and then I got remarried and start picking it up here and there. And what I did was, I remember going on YouTube. And the first YouTuber I ever saw for sewing was Mimi G.
Ah, yes.
And yeah. And so I know that might be a lot of people's story, but it was, and it got me back into sewing. Then that's when I became aware of Instagram. I was already on YouTube, watching beauty videos and stuff. So I knew about Instagram, but I wasn't following like a ton of people at the time. But then when I got into sewing and found Mimi G, and then I started following her, then all these other people started popping up and to follow, and then it just blew up from there. And I started back sewing about 7 years ago, more regularly, to the point where it became, I don't buy clothes anymore. I make everything that I wear.
Oh,
and
wow.
so, and I enjoy that. Yeah. I enjoy making everything I wear. I know there are some basics. I might just if I don't, I need something quick, like I have recently purchased some workout pants,
Mhm.
just because we were in the middle of moving, building and all of that. And I didn't have time and didn't have access, but I needed these things. So,
Mhm.
I love to sew. So that's pretty much been my sewing journey
Mhm.
over my years, even though I dated myself.
Oh no, that's amazing. And the it's so good that you had sewing at such an early age because my mom sewed for us kids just out of necessity for, in the summertime she made my brothers the little tank and short sets out of terry cloth. So there's some dating for you there. And she made our clothes and stuff. And I was just fascinated with it. And I would take all her fabric scraps and stuff and begged her to show me, but she didn't love sewing the way that we do.
Yeah.
And then she was just like doing it to get stuff done and whatever. So it wasn't until I went to college and then I made my dorms window treatment, like the swag. And then but like you said, in high school I really didn't really pay attention to it at all. I was just like, off onto other things. But it's funny how in our adult years we kind of like revisit the past and
Yes.
pick it up again. So it sounds like garment sewing is kind of like your forte, your main thing, but it's not the only thing that you sew, right?
Garments? No. I also make handbags,
Mhm.
wallets. I don't make the handbags and wallets as frequently as I do garments. I would say garment is like
Mhm.
top of the list.
Yeah.
And then, getting into other things as well.
Do you have like a favorite type of fabric that you like to work with when you sew with garments, or and kind of like your go-to?
Yes, I absolutely, and I just discovered how much I love this, but it is a viscose rayon. I believe the same thing. Twill. I
Oh.
absolutely love it. It has a nice texture to it, a nice hand to it, and it definitely, keeps you cool in the summertime. And it has a very nice drape that's not as drapey as a rayon chally.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the rayon chally is probably my next favorite
Ah, okay.
to sew with. I do like sewing with knits, but I don't know that I have if I've identified a, a favorite knit. Probably it could be a very lightweight ponte, but that
Mm.
depends on the quality of the ponte, because not all
Mhm.
pontes are created equal, but
Mhm.
but lightweight, because I'm
Mm.
here in Texas now.
Yeah.
I used to be up by you in Wisconsin, where a heavier ponte would be more my thing, but
Mm.
down here a more lighter weight, sturdy, nice recovery ponte.
Mm.
So far as my knits, but definitely the viscose rayon twill, my
That's
favorite.
interesting. I haven't even heard of that fabric, viscose rayon twill. Definitely rayon challis, and I've sewn with that, and it's a really nice, light and flowy fabric. But the twill, is it kind of it's the same fiber, but a little bit maybe tighter woven and thicker, or how would you
Yes,
describe
and
it?
you can see the weaves more. They're a little bit more pronounced in the
Okay.
twill than they are in the chally.
Okay.
So you will definitely, when you pick it up and you pick up the chally might be more smooth looking
Mhm.
to the touch, but then the twill you see the texture in it.
And what would you make from that twill? What type
I
of?
made actually what made me fall in love with it is I made the Love Notions Rhapsody blouse.
Okay.
And so yes, that when I made that, I was like, yeah, I need more of this fabric. And I actually have more of it and have not been able to sew it up yet. And so
Ah.
so I do have it, but again, we moved, we built a house here. And so during the move and transition, I hadn't had a chance to
Uh-huh.
get back into those fabrics just yet. But
Hmm.
I will.
Yeah, absolutely. So, The talking about patterns, do you have like your favorite patterns, or and also too, I'm wondering what when you sew from like a pattern, are you are you sewing it exactly as it's written, or do you kind of, now that you've been sewing for so long, you probably are able to kind of like, you know, take from one and add it to another or so forth. How do you approach like sewing from patterns?
If I say I had to answer your question about a favorite pattern, um, I w- I would say it's hard to pick a favorite, but ones I've sewn frequently
Yeah.
and like is the Rebecca Page Strappy Cami specifically. And then the actually one is that I have on, and I definitely want to make more of these, but this is the McCall 6939. I did a review on my channel for this one as well. But it's now rebranded under Butterick.
Oh,
And I
okay.
cannot remember for the life of me what the Butterick number is now. But you know, when McCall, the Big Four was going through all that repackaging, and some of
Yeah.
the patterns were just being put under the new name
Okay.
and everything. So
Oh.
probably in a tank dress pattern. I love tank dress patterns.
Mm.
They're just easy breezy throw over your head. And so far as answering your question about sewing a pattern, well, that has been a process for me, to be honest, to answer your question. When I got back 7 years ago into sewing, I did just sewed it just how the envelope, the picture on the front looked, the steps that it was, until I then began to learn about fit and learning to fit my body, make adjustments, and the different type of adjustments I needed to make based on that particular pattern block.
Mm.
That was something I had to mentally, through the process, learn that there's definitely nothing wrong with me or my body. Realizing that whether it's an indie pattern or a commercial pattern,
Mm.
the blocks created are just generic.
Mhm.
They weren't a block created for me.
Mm.
So there may need to be, and this is not always the case, but there may needed to be certain adjustments. I think in the Upton, there were quite a few adjustments I had to make in order for it to fit for me, to fit me how
Me
I
too.
wanted to fit me.
Hmm.
And so once then, and that whole fitting process is ongoing. I'm still learning, like, oh, I should have, I should do this or do that.
Hmm.
But I will say, learning that fit process then allows me to say, okay, the pattern says for me to follow this step to get to this result. This way for me, over what I've learned over, the past few years, is how I like to do it. And I'm still going to get the same result. So it really depends on the pattern.
Mm.
And then even to take it a step further, I even now when I make things, and this is really honestly within the past year, this is how short of a time frame I'm talking here, is that it's okay into, because I'm always seeing people on Instagram so prolific, our other so sisters out there, that they mix textiles, they mix two textiles together, they pattern match, do matching of different fabric designs and different things like that to create a look. But I also follow a lot of what are they called? Style influencers.
Mm, yes.
People who don't sew, but they,
Right.
they buy the ready to wear and they style things.
Hmm.
Love it. And I'm seeing them, and I'm thinking, as a sewist, I can recreate that look because I like that look,
Mm.
but I can do it with my own patterns, different patterns I have, different
Hmm.
fabrics and everything. So I'm just getting into that.
Mm.
I recently made a perfect example is I recently made the Fiber and Cloth Studio Agave top and dress.
Hmm.
And that was my first time. Is it? I want to say it was my first time I mixed fabrics. I mixed a lace with the rayon challis.
Yes, I
And
saw that
just
video.
absolutely love the way that, and it felt, as you continue to be more comfortable in sewing, maybe you feel this way. Once you start stepping outside the box and think, I don't have to do what's on the front of the envelope, I can take it up a notch. This joy that comes from within after you completed it, like, oh, this is fabulous. And that's how I felt. I was like, okay, I'm on that trajectory in my sewing journey now, where, you know what, it's time to take the wheels off, get outside the box, and just create.
Yeah, I watched that video, and you definitely exuded that joy. You were definitely very pleased with how it turned out, and the lace was beautiful, and the fabric too. But then what I loved about it was that you were talking and describing on one side of the screen, like everything you did and whatever with the pattern and how it came out. But then on the other side, you were showing little quick video snips of you wearing it in different ways.
Yes.
And I thought that was fascinating. I was just like, what a flexible garment this is. And it changed the complete look of it. Like, you wore it as a dress.
Yep.
You wore it as, you wore it belted.
Yep.
And unbelted. And you wore it as a kind of like an open cardigan sort of thing.
Yes. Over jeans and over a dress. Yep.
Yeah. And it was just so beautiful. I enjoyed seeing that a lot. So I'm going to link that video for the listeners and viewers to see that if they haven't already seen it. But yeah, that was great. I love that. And I think you're right. You kind of like have the sense of accomplishment, and then it builds your confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I like you just really less than a year ago have really delved into getting fit right, because you know, I sewed just this was before, you know, really YouTube and Instagram and all that, like back in the early 2000s. As a young adult sewing, but it was only just the big four patterns. And
right.
And, you know, I was even a lot smaller at that time, and they still didn't fit me right.
Right.
Yeah. So I really got discouraged quite easily because, you know, you invest in this fabric and the time, and you're sewing all this stuff. And I mean, let me tell you, the tears and the crying and the heartache.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, and then I just, I was way too busy to sew with this one job that burnt me out. But anyway, that's beside the point. But then I got back into it, and then I started quilting and all this other stuff. And then more recently, because of YouTube, and then there's all of these independent pattern designers now that design for real women's bodies, and they don't just include one cup size. You know, there's several. There's usually kind of like maybe at least 3 main ones that you can then take and then adjust even those to fit you. And that was such like an eye opener for me. And, you know, and then you go through the whole, well, can I do this? Can I like make this?
I know, get the jitters out.
And then that's why your video, and I think you even said in your video that you had taken the Cashmere Fit workshop.
It was a fit clinic.
Yeah. So I mean, the stuff that you were doing, and then you were saying like, you know, this is how they say to do it, but I, you know, discovered that I like to do it this way. And I just found that so liberating, and just you know, I had never done that before, making this dress, but I made the muslin of the bodice only, and that's really the only part that needed the muslin. But I made 3 or more adjustments before it was like ready to sew for real.
Right. Oh yeah.
But I had never done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how proud I was of making that garment. I mean, my listeners are probably tired of me talking about it, but it's just
but it's a huge accomplishment.
it
And like you
is.
said, it put wind in your sails. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, now
Yeah.
I know, what to do for something else,
Right. Yep. Yeah, and I don't have that sort of that cloud of uncertainty of, you know, making garments anymore like I used to, because it's like you kind of already assume that it's not going to work out and then it doesn't. So now it is going to work out because, I know how to do some more stuff that
Right,
will
right.
will make it fit really well. But yeah, I really enjoy your YouTube channel. And oh, wait, before we go into that, I want to talk about sewing machines that you use,
Yes.
because everybody loves to learn and to know who's sewing with what, because it's just, I don't know, it's at least for me, I just love it. And I love sewing machines and I love to see all the different ones. So tell me your sewing machine, your main sewing machine, and serger, because if you're making clothes, I know you have a serger.
Yes, I have 4 machines. So I have my what I would term probably my main machine, although I'm not using it right now, is my Brother. I love Brother. Is the Brother PS 2500. That machine, they don't make it anymore. I don't know. That machine is probably one of the machine I purchased when I know I purchased it when I made those drapes like 20 years ago. I don't know. But the Janome HD3000 is the one that's set up that I'm sewing on the most right now. And it's only because I purchased this at a dealer here locally in Texas. And I purchased it to be able to make handbags, not like with heavy duty leather or anything. And because my other machine, I just didn't want to use it for that. And so I found that the HD3000 was a little bit more heavy duty than my PS 2500, even though they're pretty borderline the same. And so I just haven't switch them back. I just keep sewing on the Janome because projects that keep coming up either require I'm doing faux leather or something like that. And I'm like, why keep switching back the machine? I'll just use that. My Serger is the one that probably a lot of people have, is the Brother 1034D.
Oh yeah.
And I know that video, I think that's one of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel. When my unboxing of that is that the Brother 1034D. And then I was gifted the it's Brother 3400. What is this? Oh, Brother SE400.
Okay.
It has an embroidery unit.
Yes.
It comes with the embroidery unit. And I typically only use that for embroidery, which I haven't done in quite some time. I want to get back into it, but buttonholes. That is the machine. I would just set the buttonhole up maker on there, and anytime I needed buttonholes, I will just go over to that machine to do it. So those are my machines right now. I do want an industrial machine though. So that is on my wish list.
Oh, cool. Those industrials are just amazing. I don't have one. I have what they consider a semi-industrial. It's the Juki 2010. It's just It's just a straight stitch. And it's very heavy duty. But those industrials are amazing. I watched the videos of people sewing on them and you could tell.
Yes.
Yeah, you could tell the difference. That's great. And I think that your video on that serger is first of all, it's good that you put it out there because and it's popular because people are so unsure about sergers. And I think that there just hasn't, over the years until recently, there hasn't been a lot of education and talk and just taking away that fear of sewing with sergers. And I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I had a serger. I wanted one and I asked for one, and my mom got me one off of eBay, and it sat in that box for so long because now
Yeah.
I'm like, great, I have it. Now what do I do? You know?
Right. Yes.
And then when I finally learned how to use a serger, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't not believe that I, didn't dive into this
Right.
before. So it really is a good tool, especially with making clothing. But I mean, I use it sometimes even with quilting and home deck. So it's a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
versatile machine, and it's good to
Mm-hmm.
have. And that brother one is not that hefty of an investment, and it's a top machine because it's affordable and it's really good.
It is really good.
Yeah. So that's great. And I got all excited about the serger, so I forgot my next. I forgot my next point. Oh, well, let's go ahead and move on to your YouTube channel. So talk about when you started your YouTube channel and why you wanted it.
I probably started my YouTube channel probably 2007, 2009, but my channel started out as a beauty channel.
Oh,
And so for the first few years, I'm not into makeup, but it's fun. And so I just thought I would do videos about makeup. And then I was also doing videos mainly about natural hair,
okay.
how I maintain my hair, the products I use on my hair, when I did something different to my hair, and then makeup videos. So I did that for a few years. And then I switched to just nothing but sewing content. And so I think I would say the sewing content at least has been for the past 8 or 9 years, maybe.
Wow.
But yeah, before it was hair and makeup.
Okay. Yeah, that is a really great. I mean, I didn't realize that you have been making videos for that long. That's, I mean, a good
Oh yeah, some of those
accomplishment.
earlier videos.
Well, describe the different types of videos that you do now, because I think there's a variety, which is kind of nice because some of them are vlogs and reviews and tutorials. So go ahead and talk about those.
Well, last year was a bit of a hodgepodge because if people were following me last year, because of our transition to building and all of that different stuff. So I didn't have really the focus I had maybe the year before, but because I focused on doing sew-alongs on my channel, maybe a tutorial here or there, pattern reviews, of course, pattern fabric hauls. Who doesn't love those? And then maybe if there were some collaborations that I was doing, either with another YouTuber or with a pattern company or fabric company, you will see those on my channel. I did get away from doing the sew-alongs. Haven't decided if I'll bring those back officially as sew-alongs, or if I'll do more so incorporating, like if I do something different or new to a particular garment, that I'll just incorporate that into my video as opposed to doing a standalone video. I'm not sure. And so either way, I still do like sharing what I'm learning, sharing new things that I'm doing. And of course, the month of February is definitely isolated because it's all about BHM pattern designers.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a few minutes after we talk about your YouTube channel. It's exciting. Okay, so I do like those sew along videos because they're just jam packed with just so much knowledge, and sometimes it's just the littlest thing that can make the biggest difference in when you're sewing that pattern. So, but
and I know everybody learns I know quite a few YouTubers do sew-alongs. But one thing I found, even though a lot of YouTubers do sew-alongs, there are certain people or styles that I tend to gravitate to. Just because the way they explain something or the way they do something. And I do watch others that maybe I don't gravitate to, because it might be, like you say, it could be just a minute of something they said or did in the video that for me, oh, there it is. I got it. I got it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that's great. But I know it's a lot of work. Are those probably the most labor intensive, the sew-alongs?
Oh, absolutely. Lots of editing, starting, stopping, hope, because I don't use ring lights and things like that. I don't like ring lights. And so I prefer to film in natural light. And so for me, that can cause a problem. If I have something planned and then all of a sudden it's storming outside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There goes your light.
Right. So I probably still need to have some sort of lighting, probably not like the official box lights, and I'm not doing that, but maybe some kind of other light that allows to go over my cutting table to help in those days where I'm struggling.
Yeah, yeah.
Or really, I just need, probably the main thing I need to do is switch out the bulbs in my sewing room to the LED daylight lights, and then I'll probably be fine.
Yeah, those daylight bulbs are really nice.
Yeah.
And with your different types of videos, the feedback that you get from your viewers, does that ever kind of influence things that you might do more or less, or is it just still kind of like this is my channel and this is what I want to show people and share with them?
Oh, absolutely. It does influence it quite a bit. And so with keeping that balance of, this is what I still want to do, because I know there are certain videos I might put up or do that don't get a lot of views, but I totally enjoy doing it. And the few people that watched it enjoyed it as well. So I have to keep in mind not to just go down the path of this is all people want to see, even though it's something I'm not in the mood to record or do or something like that, because I get joy from doing this. So it can't be just one way.
That's good. No, I'm glad, because sometimes even, people think that they only want one thing, but if they then see a different type of video from you, it might surprise them that, oh, wow, I never even thought about that before.
Right.
Or, I'm glad she did that. Yeah, definitely. And is there, well, you said you think the most popular video was the unboxing of the Serger. Was there any other video that kind of stands out to you?
Yes. Anything with plus size sewing, those videos do really well. Those are some of my most watched, as well as the videos about, because I have 2 table presses. One from Cam Snaps, the other from Gold Star Tools. Those videos also super duper popular. So yeah, the plus size sewing videos, all super popular on my channel. Because I do it at the time, I was doing a lot of different reviews and showing different things of different plus size patterns and size inclusive patterns. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What are the table presses?
So making handbags and wallets, rivets, how you have rivets that you put into maybe your handbag or something.
Yes.
The table presses is the easiest way, at least in my mind, to put in a rivet or something like that. So I have 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So where you just kind of like pull the handle down and it sandwiches the grommet or the rivet and on both sides of the fabric.
And you can get different settings as well. Yeah. So you can guise, they're called. And so one I use for hole punching. So if I'm putting in a snap or something like that, you hole punch and then you have to set the snap, all of that. So yes, those make life for doing things like that much easier.
Oh, good to know. Interesting. because I haven't invested in that yet, but because I wasn't sure how often I would use it, but I can kind of see how it's one of those tools that just would make you breeze through that part of the, whereas, when I look at the instructions and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to like get the hammer, mail it out, and
Right, right,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So that's good. Um, and uh, the okay, so the plus size videos, did, before, like now it's everywhere, and size inclusivity, thank goodness, is catching up out there.
Yes.
But before then, um, how would you, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is like, since you've been doing your videos, has that been around, or have you done videos before then where you would really have to like, say these changes really, have to, like, you have to edit this pattern so much to like
Oh yeah, some of
get
my
it?
earlier videos, those plus size videos, or those videos where I talked about plus size patterns and everything,
Mhm.
talks about that kind of evolution of pattern companies, the commercial at the time. So the thing to keep in mind, at least for me at the time when I made those, I was closer to 309 pounds. And so now, and so I have a playlist on my YouTube channel that shows the evolution of, because I am on a healthy journey and getting fit is not about being skinny, just about
Mm,
health for
yes.
health reasons. Taking care of myself, and with that comes weight loss, and how the journey from, okay, I sewed this pattern. I actually have a few videos where I said, okay, I sewed this pattern at 309 pounds. Then I had to sew it again when I lost 40, 50 pounds. And here are the adjustments I had to make, and here are the changes. And so it has been, and it's been nice to see with indie patterns, because there wasn't a lot of indie patterns that really catered to plus size.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more, evolution over time where, okay, now they're becoming more size inclusive. Now they're changing their blocks and, making different adjustments within their patterns to accommodate all size ranges, which is
Right.
good to see.
It is. It really is. And I just, I, I think also, and this is still kind of an ongoing thing, but uh, pattern companies that are just including these, extended sizes on both sides of the scale, um, used to be just like, oh, well, we just make this bigger in like a box and no
Right,
shape.
right,
So,
right.
and the first pattern company that I noticed that really addressed that was Cashmerette.
Mm-hmm.
And I still love their patterns because they're just so flattering, the shapes that they make
Mm-hmm.
uh, for plus size. And do you know of, because you know more pattern companies, I think, than I do, but are there other pattern companies that sort of do that where they really take into account shaping
And cup
and
sizing, oh
yeah,
gosh, yes, it has definitely evolved. Rebecca Page Patterns
okay.
is one that they've always been size inclusive. They didn't have the cup sizing. They now, with their new range, I believe that new range is called their curvy range.
Mm,
Even though in my mind, when I was much heavier, Rebecca Page Patterns and Cashmere were the two pattern companies I would sew up the most.
mhm,
But Rebecca Page Patterns has since last year introduced their curvy range. So it's not just increasing the size of the block, but now they built the curve into their
mm,
blocks now.
nice.
And so then you have, I know Helen's Closet is size inclusive, Friday Pattern Company. Oh my gosh, I know Style Art has become size inclusive. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head,
Style
because
art.
there's been so many that have been out. A lot of these companies that's been out for a long time, like your Style Arts, your people like that, have since over the past couple of years come into that more size inclusive range now, where
Mhm.
they've come out with a whole nother range in sizing of their patterns. And
Oh,
I'm
good.
noticing that with even the smaller indie pattern companies as well, like Fiber and Cloth Studio, very size inclusive
Ooh,
as well. Mm-hmm.
I gotta check all of these out because I I don't know. Really, I haven't heard of any of these.
Oh
Studio.
yeah, you gotta oh, I wish I could remember her name. I think I don't remember her handle, but I think is Johasler. That's probably wrong. Maybe I can DM you her
Okay.
page, but she has it's either her or somebody that has a website that has all of the size inclusive indie patterns.
Oh, great. Good.
I
Very good.
think that was her.
Fantastic.
If I got that wrong, yeah.
So, with your YouTube channel, do you well, I know you said you're thinking of changing, like you're not sure if you're gonna, do so-longs or whatever, but uh do you have like certain goals for this year that you want to do? And I think that you're probably really good at the consistency in posting, but talk about how that works for you.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the days that I post. I post on Sundays and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. is when my videos go live. And so that won't change. But so far as my sewing goes, this year definitely getting outside of the box, like we talked about earlier with mixing fabrics and mixing textiles, mixing prints, and also continuing to improve on sewing techniques. I want to learn how to, or at least practice more often, lining things that don't come lined. So if there's a bodice that, I don't want to have the, serger seams showing, how would I line this? And then practice lining something that doesn't come lined, maybe even a jacket. Practicing more hand stitching things, making manual. Well, I saw actually Alexis from Fiber and Cloth do a buttonhole by hand, a manual buttonhole, but it was for thicker fabric. So just doing other, trying different techniques by hand that can add just a little extra touch. And doing embroidery. I don't know if you follow Bianca from Thanks I Made Them. She came out with an embroidery book, and I actually just read it last night. I was going through it. I had purchased it and read it because I was intimidated. Again, these things can seem intimidating until you actually sit and read it. That and knitting. And so for me, I don't know if anybody's like me. I'm a visual learner. That's why I was doing sew-alongs, because that's how I learn. And so over the years, and maybe others are like me, over time, after you've seen something enough, you are comfortable with reading it.
Yes.
So
yes. That's how I am too.
You can buy a book.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then you can read it, and then you understand what you're reading.
Right.
But it's like you need to see it. I love the book. Thank you for the book, but I'm not going to do anything with it. I need to see things first. And then I'll read it. And so but it sounds like you're the same.
I'm exactly the same, because I had purchased some hand embroidery books years ago, and those little, illustrations, you don't know what direction is what, and until I actually have seen it done in person, then going back, now you can totally get like where the perspective of that illustration is coming from. But I wouldn't know going into it blind that that's what that is supposed to
Yeah, my brain
Me.
doesn't work that way. Some people can read a book and they just understand, they can just go with it and it work. No,
Right.
I'm the opposite. I need to see it first and then I can read about it and do it.
Yes, I totally agree. So that sounds great, and I would love to watch all of those new technique videos from you. So that's exciting. And the Sunday and Wednesday, I mean, that's a lot of work. How do you do that? How do you keep up with that?
Well, I decide what it is I want to work on. What are some things I'm interested in doing? So, all of those, keep in mind, even though I'm uploading Sunday and Wednesdays, is not always a garment I'm showing that I made. It
Okay.
might be me talking about something. So, for a perfect example, is pretty much the entire month of January was all me talking about in preparation for BHM pattern designers. I interviewed different Black pattern designers. All those videos went up in January. And then on other days, I walked through the website for BHM pattern designers, giving people ideas and preparation. And then I had a make video. So because the sewing challenge is in February.
Yes.
I know what I wanted to make because I was thinking about what I wanted to make and different things I wanted to create. And so then I just kind of slotted in, okay, this is when I want this video to go based on the order that I plan to make things. And so, yeah, that's how it goes.
So okay. And that makes sense. And it really is basically organization. You have to be organized to kind of like keep that structure going.
I'm a list girl. I got list. We got list, budget, everything. There's a list. But I leave room, especially with sewing, your creative journey. You do leave room to, if something pops up or you need to do something different. And because I do collaborations with fabric companies and pattern companies, that also, and many YouTubers do, that also helps create automatic content because you have to talk about this pattern or you have to talk about this fabric. Yes. So that's already a couple videos that have to go up.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And you do everything. You do the filming and editing.
Oh yeah.
Great. Do a great job. Okay, so let's talk about the BHM pattern designers, and it's coming up in February. And you created this, like you launched this in 2019 and it took off and it's still going on. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so BHM Pattern Designers was created, like you said, by me now 5 years ago. This is the 5th year. I'm super excited about it. I believe I will be sending you all of the links. So if people are watching this, they're in the area, they want to share with their friends, you can still register and sign up for the live event. So this year, what makes it so different, I started in 2019, mainly because I did not see a promotion of Black pattern designers, because shortly before that, I had discovered there were Black pattern designers. There weren't a lot. There were just, you almost can just put them on your hand. Most of them were related to commercial patterns. So on my website, I do have the commercial patterns. Keep in mind, some of those numbers could have been recycled because that's been like 40 years or whatever. But it was mainly commercial patterns where you saw some of the more vintage patterns that were Black pattern designers created. But then you have indie pattern designers, like we know indie companies, that they're investing in their own patterns and developing those and putting those out. And that's when I discovered those shortly before I kicked off BHM Pattern Designers. And then I thought, you know what? Because BHM stands for Black History Month. And Black History Month in the United States is the month of February. And it's also my birthday month. That's neither here nor there. But I said, wouldn't it be fun, the month of February, Black History Month, to really hone in and promote and shout out these Black pattern designers, be it commercial or indie. Yes. And so that's what I did. And I was like, I didn't see it. Nobody was doing it. And so I just did it because I thought it was necessary. And so, like you said, it took off, and now here we are. 5 years later, what people will have noticed who either followed the challenge is that the growth of Black indie pattern designers has been just through the roof. I think at the time early on, it might have been 3 or 4. I mean, we're up to, I don't know, maybe 20 or something like that now. It is just phenomenal. And then what I've also done is add on information about, okay, you didn't know this Black pattern designers existed. Here's their website. Here's their information. But did you know that there are Black-owned fabric companies? And there are designers, Black pattern designers that create handbags, wallets, quilt patterns, embroidery patterns. It just grew. And so it has been just a wonder to see. And so I knew last year, because you know how you plan events. This event was already started planning like immediately after the last one ended. I started writing things down. And again, I'm a planner. And so I knew for the 5-year that, okay, it has to be big. And as a Christian, I pray a lot. And so I got the download. There needs to be an in-person event to help celebrate this 5-year. And so that's what people see, and probably have been seeing a lot of marketing around that, is the in-person event that will be held here February 25th, 2023 in Katy, Texas. But the online part is the same. It will continue to be the same. It kicks off February 1st. No one is allowed to sew. You prepare. That's what January was all about. I shared and help you prepare for the month of February. But February 1st, let's start sewing all the way through to the 28th. Now, mind you, that seems like, oh, who will wait to the 28th? A lot of people wait to the 28th to finish their garment. They've been working on it all month, or, things pop up for people throughout the month. Yeah. And so they're like, I got to get this in. So entries, believe it or not, come in, Stephanie, at like 11 o'clock
on the 28th.
So I am so super excited about this year being the 5-year celebration. So yes, very excited.
Congratulations. It is just amazing. And this live event is you're hosting it live in person for just in person. It's not going to be webcasted or anything, right? Is that?
No, it's not. It is an in-person event at the Hilton here. Is 4 different instructors, nice. 4 different classes. And the registration is $59. And that's to cover the event fees and all of that. But then the classes themselves they range from the $20 to $30 range. But each instructor is giving all of the participants a kit. So you're going to either have something to take away with you, or make something while you're in the workshop and you have it to take with you. So it's definitely a good bang for your buck. And all of the instructors are super excited about what they are going to be teaching.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. That's wonderful. So the entries that you're talking about are just people that start and complete this project. They post it to your page, the hashtag BHM.
Well, yes, they tag SewNaturalDane, and then they use the hashtag BHM Pattern Designers. So I know that is what they are entering into the challenge. People also use the hashtag and post it in their stories what they're working on. They like to show their progress. Of what they're working
and Instagram.
on. Oh, yes. Use the hashtag if you're participating, if you want to share on your stories or whatever, or if you have a YouTube channel and you want to share, hey, here are my plans. This is what I'm working on. Here's my progress. Then do that. I highly, highly suggest it.
So they can enter if they post on Instagram or YouTube or your website, or is there an official place?
To enter, all you're doing is posting on Instagram, and you have to tag SewNaturalDane and use the hashtag BHM.
Got it. Okay, Instagram.
And that is on the link that I sent you. It is on the page.
Yeah. And I have the link to your page that you have a specific tab that
Yes.
for that event and
Yes.
everything. So, and that's great. And the other thing I do like about this event is that it's not just sewing. Like you can sew, but you opened it up to other crafts like quilting,
knitting,
which is what I'm going to do. I am. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. This is what I plan to make.
Oh, yes. The CardiZen. Yes.
The CardiZen. Yes. The CardiZen by Bayron Handmade. I think her name is Denise, right? Denise Bayron?
Denise.
Yes.
And I believe it's pronounced Bayron.
Oh, sorry. Bayron. Thank you.
I pronounced it wrong for like 3 years.
Bayron. Okay. Bayron Handmade. I'll put a link to this, her website, or even to this pattern. But this pattern, because, it has to be done between the 1st and the 28th of February. I was just like, what can I do? What can I do? And I'm just newly into knitting, like since 2020. And this looks like the perfect thing. And it's so beautiful. It's this cardigan that is knit in just the garter stitch. And it's so elegant. It has, then when you put it on, it has those oversized lapels, and it's a 3/4 sleeve, and it just connects through whatever you want. It could be a toggle button, or she's got this fancy little snap thing here, and there's different ways that you can wear it. And then there's a little kid one. Look at that little one. Oh my gosh. It is so, so cute. So I ordered my yarn. It should be here any day now, and I cannot wait. I hope I get this done. That's just the only thing, because I'm not the fastest knitter, but she says it's a quick make. So let's hope it is.
That is awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you tell us what you're making, or are you going to save that for?
I do. By the time your audience sees this, my video would be up.
Oh, good.
Everything I plan to make for the month. But I'm very excited about all the plans. What I can say, what people will notice this year for me that I'm doing different, I'm doing all indie patterns. And some of them are pattern companies I have never sewn from before.
Oh, so, I like that. Very good. So
definitely check out that video.
Yes. We will have all the links for your YouTube channel and everything. Everywhere that everyone can find you at would be great. So, and then, I think, I wanted to talk about one more thing. You have gone into fabric design.
I have. I think this will be the 3rd year. I just, I have visions of different designs in my head that, I can't draw, but I have a graphic designer that I work with, where I tell her or send her, okay, this is, I don't know, probably look like kitty scribble, but she seems to understand me. Yeah. And so then she flushes it all out. And if we have to make tweaks, we make tweaks. But I just started that. And those designs, I have a shop on Spoonflower. Okay. And I do have a few of the designs I can share with you that's new for this year.
Yes.
Again, those who follow would have seen this already, but these are just a couple of the designs. Am I holding it up right?
Yeah.
Here. I didn't do as many that I normally do, only because of another item I will show you in a moment that is new. Yeah, I have these all upside down. But I have this design, and you'll be able to see it better on my website. I do have the fabric, the full length on the dress form, on a graphic dress form. So you kind of see the flow, the full length, but I have those with a couple colors. But I was excited about these ombre colors that I did this year.
So for my audio listeners, there will be a link to what she was just talking about, so you can see it online. Oh, those ombres are amazing.
Yes. We got a pink, a purple, and kind of a blue ombre. So all of that.
All of those.
Yeah. So I didn't go wild on fabric designs, and this was the last one I did. It's more
pretty.
square
Yeah,
triangles.
more triangles. Yeah, geometric. Nice.
Yeah, that I usually come out with like 3 different, types of designs, and then I, flush it out with a whole bunch of colors. Well, this year I did not do that. I kept it to these because I launched my new product, which is a monthly makes calendar.
Oh, look at that.
And so people will notice the designs on here. Again, working with my graphic designer, all of the fabric designs that will be seen throughout the calendar are all my designs.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so I created this because, again, this has been 2 years in the making. Again, people would have seen this video already, but it's to document your creative journey. And it doesn't matter if it's garment sewing, accessories, fiber arts, quilting, or other DIY items in here. And people can definitely check out the video to get more details on it. But the calendar, there's, you have your calendar page, and then you can probably barely see that because of lighting. But there's an area where you can document the pattern that you made, the view you made, the size, the fabric you used, what it was that you made. So whether it was a dress, pants, wallet, whatever, or if it was a fiber project, what was it? And then for those who, this is not for people who have specifically YouTube, but for those who do collaborations with pattern companies, or they do collaborations with fabric companies. Usually those individuals are part of those companies' Facebook groups, if they have them. And so perhaps you're doing a collaboration, or you were sponsored fabric or pattern. You can write the due date in here when that review is due. Or if you did, if you're part of a pattern test group, maybe you test a pattern, or you're maybe there's a fabric that, a particular company wants you to just kind of test it to see if it's going to work for something. You can put the due date here, and then you can share in this column where you shared it. So you don't, again, it's not for people necessarily to have YouTube, but say they have YouTube, or maybe they have a website, a blog that they, document everything at, or other, Facebook, or, whatever other social media they have on there. And then, of course, just a couple other areas I'll highlight. You document your measurements, and also any notes you want to take, and any fabric swatches maybe you want to attach onto your calendar. So there's several pages in here. And again, you can catch the video where I go over this a little bit more in detail. And and I do have a separate video that I shared that people can watch also. So yeah, I'm so excited. That is the fabric and the new product that is dropping this year.
Oh my gosh. That is a very unique type, because there's a lot of, planners and project organizers, but this one is very unique, and I love it. It's would you call it spiral? Is it spiral?
Yes,
down?
it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So for my digital people, this is not for you. But for my people that still like to write things down and have something to flip back through, because it definitely makes it super easy for you to do a roundup. At the end of the year.
Wow, that's amazing. And it would be very useful for pattern testers, and like you said, YouTubers, and kind of like keep stuff organized all in one spot. Because even if they are digital and they do keep stuff like that, I always like a place to put like fabric swatches, and and here it is all in one spot.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful book too. And there's something about handwriting,
that's
things.
Me. I still like writing things down. So the people out there who are planners, who either collect planners, like calendars, like organization, like different things to serve different purposes, this is absolutely perfect for you.
And this is an interesting thing that I just heard from another podcaster, Frances Dowell, and she's an author, like a writer, and she mentioned that there's something about writing things down, that you remember, and kind of like you have a memory of, versus all this digital stuff, people, you don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
People do not
you
remember.
have to go back into, pick up the phone or pick up a tablet.
Right.
And do that. And for me, I don't receive notifications on my phone. I just don't need to be available like that. But sometimes that's a distraction. You're going into, say you got a calendar on your phone or tablet or device, but then you get distracted and go to something else, another app on your device. When you really just wanted to focus on this one thing.
Yes.
So here you go. Here's that one thing.
Yes. And it's beautiful. Focus. Yeah. Good. You have a very good graphic designer. That's a beautiful cover. And I love those colors too, of course.
Thank you. Of Wonderful. Course, and my favorite colors, which are my brand colors, the purple and all of that.
Yeah, they're the purple, the deep violet is my brand, with an aqua and pink. So I love those colors. And when you were talking about that in your video of the agave dress and the fabric, you're like, these are all my colors. And I'm like, yes, they are my colors too.
And see, that's what makes you happy when you're making something.
It does. It really does. Well, Natita, thank you so much for coming onto my show and sharing all of this. I mean, you are just, you have so much going on.
I know.
Oh my gosh. But it's so much fun. And
I do work full time. I do work a 9 to 5.
That's amazing. It is just amazing that you, but you know what? When you're passionate about something,
you make time for it.
You do, and you love doing it.
Yes.
So I wish you, all more success that you already have. And I'm excited about BHMP month. This will be my first time participating. So I'm really excited about that.
Yay!
And I'm really honored that I can, do an episode to highlight this and, really I haven't really actively participated in that before. So, I'm really happy that I get this opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure meeting you and speaking with you.
Yay. All right. Well, good luck. And I'm sure that I will be talking with you again soon, I'm sure. Or if not, at least in your comments.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Okay.
And please, if you have any questions, let me know.
Great. Bye.
Bye.